hot shotters out there. If you've been around for a while, you know what's going on here. See how that's rubbed all the way through? When you're driving your truck, it'll sit there and tap against the brake drum, and you'll get that trailer connected, trailer disconnected bullshit. That's probably what it is. It's a bad magnet 9 times out of 10. I mean, sometimes it's your wiring, but if you got a solid trailer, solid connections, you know all that's good, and you still can't figure it out, your magnets are probably worn down. Alright guys, there you go. That's a brake drum removal on a 12,000 pound trailer axle. Now sometimes you can come in here, you can slap the back of this and it'll slide right off. As you can see, it wasn't cooperating, so I had to get the puller out. And the reason, if you're gonna ask why you can't loosen up these brakes, you'll get a little bit of a lip, and this edge of the brake pad back here is what catches on there, in here. And that's why you can't get it out. Now on like brakes and other brakes, you can turn this from back here with a brake adjuster tool and squeeze these brakes in. I don't do that with these because one, it's a pain in the ass to get to those slots. You gotta have like perfect angle to angle. The other thing is these are automatic adjusting brakes. So when you're trying to go the other way, this actually sits here and turns against this. So that you actually have to get another screwdriver and push this thing out while you're adjusting this. It's just a pain in the ass, and it's easier to either hit it with a hammer and get it to slide off or use the puller. Here's what happens, guys, when you run those magnets to the ground. Get these big ridges in your drum. If your drum looks like that, guys, you gotta replace it. That magnet will never, you can put a new magnet in, it might buy you a little bit of time. This drum's pretty bad. That magnet will last not even half as long. It'll immediately start grooving the same way the old one is. And, I mean, your magnet surface, you're probably gonna get less than 50% contact, so your brakes are never gonna work properly either. These are 12,000 pound axles to 12K drums. These drums, if you buy Dexter, they're pretty pricey. We're talking $400 or $500 a piece. The imports are 200 and some change. What I'm gonna do though today, because it's not been the greatest run of luck lately, I have an old drum. It's grooved a little, not too bad. It wasn't on the trailer long. I'm gonna clean this drum up, replace this one, put a new magnet in, and hopefully squeeze a few more months out of these, and so I can just replace all 4 with new pads, backing plates, drums, everything. Well, imagine that, the Craftsman got it. Also, side note, on these 1/2-inch Craftsman impacts, this is the older version. The new version actually puts out significantly more torque. But I gotta give these things kudos, man. This thing has been beat to shit, dropped. My kids play with it. It's been bouncing around toolboxes and trucks. It's 2 or 3 years old at this point. I will tell you, if you've tried these and you weren't impressed, I mean, it was $100 impact, guys. So keep that in mind. Set your expectations accordingly. But there's a huge difference in batteries. I seen a guy who was using this with just a little 2 amp hour battery and was pretty upset about it. It's a big difference stepping up to that 4 amp. But we got those loose. They were probably under torqued, or, you know, maybe last time I did this they were over torqued, and they were, guys, I fought them hard. But we'll pop this drum off, pop this one on. I'll probably Google, see if I can find some torque specs. If not, we're gonna give it a couple ooga doogas and call it good. And then we'll get to putting this whole assembly, you know, after I clean it up some more, grease it, we'll get to putting it back on the trailer. I'm gonna have to replace that magnet still, run the wires, which is kind of sucks, but I'll get that done. Then we'll actually put this whole refurbished assembly back on. Oh, also guys, forgot to say, when cleaning these, don't panic too hard. I wasn't stupid and just took a normal grinder. Took one of these plastic, you know, so it does a pretty good job cleaning rust off without being too abrasive. I use it on a lot of things, but it does pretty good on here without gouging into the metal too much. Well, as you can see, I lied. After cleaning that off and watching how much brake dust and grit I threw down in there, I was like, well, what the hell? Push this thing out, I'll clean this up properly and actually repack it half-assed decently. And since I got this apart, let's talk about why I converted from oil bath to grease. I know there's a lot of science, a lot of nerds, a lot of this, that, and the other that say never to do that. It's different bearings, whatever. Here's the deal. I've put hundreds of thousands of miles on this trailer. Probably the first half of them with the oil bath bearings. I do like the oil bath bearings. Don't get me wrong. They are great when they work. I like the fact that I can see how dirty the oil is. I can change it. I can play with oils. You know, I don't have to take the whole hub off and take everything apart to put new lubrications in there. But here's my problem. This is a Diamond Seed trailer. This trailer, they use Lippert axles, Lippert everything. Once the original seal started to let go, I could never get another one to reseal. I have tried the, you know, cheaper $12 Dexter seals. I have tried $50 two-piece seals. I have tried probably 4 or 5 different types of seals. I've tried new hubs, and they'll just never seal again. And there might be something going on with the face of the axle or something else that I could eventually figure out and fix it properly. But this is a work trailer, and I, quite frankly, don't have time for that shit. So, grease it was. Here's the cool thing I noticed about grease. My hubs run about 15 degrees cooler with grease. So, that's why. So this is how these automatic adjusters work. If you can see this arm right here, when the electricity engages the magnet, it grabs the drum. And you'll see this arm moves and it'll lift this cable and lift this adjusting arm. And every time it lifts up, it comes down, it hits one of these tooth and spins the adjuster tighter. Kind of like this. That's kind of hard to see there. Like that. So to back the brakes off, we're going to push this adjuster, this magnet arm out, and we'll just spin this adjuster and pull these brake pads closer together. That way when the new drum goes on, we know it's not too tight. Alright, so two things. You've seen me set the bearing lash. That is not the most professional, legit way to do it. You look it up, there's about a half a dozen ways, half a dozen recommendations, half a dozen different textbooks. All kinds of people have their own way. Here's what's worked for me. I will tighten this nut pretty hard with that pipe wrench to suck this drum back, make sure it's all the way back. Then I will back it off. When I'm spinning it, I will tighten it up until I feel a good amount of drag again, and then back it off again. And then what I'm gonna do for probably the next week while I'm driving is we'll check this hub temp. If it's too tight, this temp will be significantly warmer than the other three. And we'll pull over, we'll pop this cap, and I will pull this cotter pin and loosen it. One castle. Also, we'll jack it up and wiggle that tire, make sure we got no play. If we get a bunch of play, then we know it's too loose, and we gotta tighten it one castle until we find kind of the sweet spot. Like I said, there's gonna be a bunch of professionals that say that doesn't work, but I got probably 200,000 miles on this trailer doing it this way, and no issues, no tires have flown off yet. So that's the way I do it, at least on a trailer axle. Other axle is gonna be a bit different. Something to watch out for too, if you're running these Velcro caps, especially for your oil bath guys. You have to watch that cotter pin, you have to get it bent just right, or as you can see, it'll rub the inside of that cap, and that'll cause you problems. So there's that part. We're gonna put this cap back on, hook up those two wires. This is probably the end of the video. I don't think you guys need to see that. And then we will test the trailer brakes out and make sure this one's working again.